Nightly Nolo, October 25, 2007. Condoleezza Rice testifies before Chairman Waxman's Committee on Iraq Corruption, and we learn that paralegals were in charge of corruption agencies there and that they chose to boycott each other's meetings from time to time.
I have told members of the State Department that they should be willing to speak with the committee. The question
we had to issue 4 subpoenas in order to get that testimony.
The question has been on some of these issues, whether or not closed or open session is more appropriate.
Some of those 4 subpoenas just to get testimony, not whether it was closed or open. We had to issue 4 subpoenas just to get the cooperation to come in and testify.
Well, I have told everybody in our department to be responsive to this committee.
Well, I hope they'll be more responsive to you, Madam Secretary.
Gentleman's time has expired. I do want to point out that James Santel, who's your anti-rule of law coordinator at the embassy, he's the one you said is coordinating things. Well, he did cooperate with us and talk to us, and his statement to us was, you've got a system where the coordination is lacking.
Was that the agencies that you mentioned that were supposed to be targeting aspects of corruption were boycotting each other's meetings. Were you aware of that?
I've heard that, who's boycotting what?
Each other's meetings. In other words, they were not attending meetings called by each of those groups that were supposed to get together.
I'm not aware of.
You're not aware of the Office of Accountability and Transparency at the embassy in Baghdad is an important mission. I think you'd agree. It's the group the State Department has that's supposed to work with Judge Roddy or other anti-corruption officials in Iraq. But what we learned during our investigation and the hearing is that 10 months since the office was established, there's had been at least 4 acting or permanent directors. 10 months, 4 acting or permanent directors. The most recent acting director previously served as a paralegal who performed administrative functions for the embassy. Now, Secretary Rice, nobody here is certainly trying to pick on this paralegal. We have great admiration for anybody serving in Iraq and serving their country. But how is it possible that with this important position that there is a paralegal involved, not an experienced diplomat, not a person with training in diplomacy and anti-corruption practices?
The very senior people who are serving in Iraq oversee all of these programs. And,
this is the head of the Office of Accountability and Transparency. This is a woman who's a paralegal who apparently has no training in diplomacy or anti-corruption efforts. How can that be?
I will have to get back to you. There may well have been integrated into something else. I'll get back to you.
I don't think so, Secretary Rice, but I'd be happy if you get back to us, because that's not what your Inspector General tells us. That's not what Mr. Walker tells us. It's not what the testimony told us. And we weren't able to get into it anymore because you didn't allow certain members of the State Department to testify before this committee in open hearing.